All right, then let's bring in Farai Moktuya, who's joining us from Harare with more data on this story. So, Farai, walk us through the scope, right, of this compensation program. How much does the government actually plan to spend on the entire program, and how are they defining who and who should not be compensated?
Well, Rama, back in 2020, the government entered into a global compensation agreement with these dispossessed farmers, where it pledged $3.5 billion to be paid to these farmers. Now, the criteria for who is getting what is farmers, the former farmers were asked to sign up to be part of this agreement. We understand about 2,600 of them, holding title to about 4,800 farms, agreed to the agreement and signed up to it. Now, the $3.5 billion was arrived at following valuations by the government and its independent evaluators. The white farmers initially had a higher figure that they were looking at, but I think after the negotiating process, they agreed on a $3.5 billion. Now, what they are being compensated for are improvements which they made on the land. So you're looking at things like your farmhouses, your warehouses, your barns, your irrigation infrastructure, dams, reservoirs. That sort of thing is what they're being compensated for. And as you quite rightly say, $3.5 billion is what has been set aside for this program, Rama.
Indeed, but I just want to make sure we get this right for our viewers, right? This program was arrived at in 2020, right? And since then, the country's had multiple economic problems, right? We've launched an entirely new currency, for example, in April this year, retiring the Zimbabwean dollar. So how exactly are they going to be able to pay for this ongoing program?
Well, certainly, Rama, there have been a number of economic challenges. I think soon after the signing of that agreement in 2020, we went straight into lockdowns because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So initially, the initial plan was that $1.5 billion would be paid within a year of the signing of the agreement. That deadline was missed. A new date and timeline was set. The government missed that too. So what the initial plan was that the government and white farmers and certain asset managers would be able to assist in terms of mobilizing and raising funds on the international markets. I think some of the challenges that Zimbabwe faces purely from a risk perspective, the isolation, the sanctions that it faces from the West have been a factor that's militated against the raising of those funds. I think the government has been trying to come up with a workaround. One of the proposals that they tabled to farmers last year was to potentially issue them 10-year treasury bills. The interest that was accruing from those bills on an annual basis would then be paid to the farmers. There were mixed reactions to that proposal. I remember speaking to one of the members of the steering committee representing the white farmers saying about 48% of the farmers had sort of indicated they might be willing to take the treasury bills, but the opinion was divided. So clearly the government has faced challenges and is finding it difficult to raise these funds. But if they are making these sort of commitments and pledges that they will start paying, it will be welcome news to some of those farmers, many of whom have been off their land and inactive for more than 2 decades now.